everyone, and welcome back to Journalist Talk. And today, my guest is Lily Ramirez, who is an old friend and an on air host at Latino 95.5 FM. Lily, welcome.
Hi, Beth. Thank you. Thank you for having me today. I'm so excited.
Yeah, thank you for coming. And something that I always do with my guests is ask them to give a brief biography about yourself in the beginning so our listeners can get to know you a little better.
Yeah, I'm Lily Ramirez. I'm a Mexican American on air host in the Bay Area. Wine Country Radio is well, here where I am, it's considered Sonoma County, which is wine country, where it's like there's a lot of vineyards. So I'm getting to know wine more. But I'm an on-air host at Latino 95.5. It's a reggaeton genre station for Wine Country Radio. That's the company's name. It owns five different radio stations. But besides the fact that I'm an on-air host, I'm also a promotions coordinator for Éxitos 98.7, which is a Mexican regional station, along with Latino 95.5. So anything that has to do with promotions, I am the one that deals with it. I graduated from CSUN last year, so that's where I met Bea. It's so funny because I always wanted to be a host, and now that I'm a host, I'm like, whoa, I'm still I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there.
I mean, you made it. You started. So
I'm starting. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really happy to talk to you today about you working on radio, and something that I've always thought of you would be TV, because when we were studying together, I remember you talking a lot about TV and entertainment and these things that you wanted to work with. How did you end up at a radio station?
Yeah, so like I was saying, yes, I've actually always wanted to be on TV, and I feel like it's that's so one of my goals. And it's funny because I don't know how to properly say this, but starting off, you don't get paid well as a journalist. It's sad, but it's true. I actually was talking to a station in Eureka, California. And at the same time, I was looking at radio stations that I was interested in. Long story short, I got interviewed for the reporter position. But when they told me the amount that they were going to pay me, I was like, oh, that's just not livable. I would have to probably work 2 or 3 jobs to be able to work as a reporter over there in Eureka. And at the same time, I also had an interview with the radio station. So I did the interview via Zoom because it was during COVID. It's crazy because I honestly thought I was going to get the Eureka, just suck it up and go. But I guess someone hacked into their system that I didn't hear for them for about 3 weeks. And I'm like, oh, I guess it's not going to happen, right? So in that 3-week break or time frame, the radio station called me and be like, hey, we want a second interview. So I did the second interview and they offered me the job. Now, let me tell you this. The radio where I'm working at does not pay well. But I took it as, okay, well, it's a starting point. My boyfriend actually lives in the area. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe, it just works out for me. Me personally, I actually feel like I got lucky enough. So I'm like, which one would it be? And I did the math and everything, and I feel like I would have made more money as a radio host versus a reporter. And as a reporter, I will be by myself out there. I wouldn't know anyone, which is, I guess, that's the beauty of it, I guess. But I don't want to be lonely, Being here I'm in the Bay Area, and I just feel like every month I go back to LA at least once, or every 1 or 2 months. I'm constantly going back because it's hard. It's hard to not have family members with you. So November is going to be my first year, and well, that's basically it. So I just did the math, and I'm like, I think I'll make a little, not a lot, but a little bit more money in radio here in the Bay Area versus if I go to become a reporter. And don't get me wrong, I still have good connections with the news director. She was a female. She's very, very nice, and the reporters there, they're like, my doors are open there. So I feel like there might be a possibility, but
Yeah, that's really nice. And I mean, I understand about moving away from home without anyone. Like, you know that I'm
Yeah,
here.
and I don't know how you do
Yeah.
it honestly. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I at least have my boyfriend. I at least have a boyfriend here, but and my dog. But other than that, it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's
That
hard.
was part of like another question of mine. Like, how was you moving into a new place where you said like you don't know anybody besides like your boyfriend and your dog? How was this change like getting used to different places to go, getting to know other places, and just like the city, the neighborhood you're in, everything like in the move?
It was such a drastic change. Let me tell you, LA, the Valley, it's like big city. Here where I'm at, it's Sonoma County, which is Santa Rosa. I'm like the city Santa Rosa, and it's like, let me tell you, they have one mall. Okay, and I love to go shopping. So that says it all. It's such a small town. It's like a big town, but it's small. Like they don't have much stuff. So for me to like really adapt, it was really hard. Till this day, I feel like I can't even adapt. Like certain like restaurants, they're closed on Sundays, and that's like a big like whoa. Like in LA, they're typically never closed on Sunday. That's like the money making days. So it's like, oh shoot. So just adjusting here was so hard. The weather, oh my god, it's so much colder here. It's like out there in LA, it's super hot right now. Right now, it's only hot, semi hot during the day, but at night, it's so cold. And I feel like it's winter all year round, except for like, I'm not kidding you. I think we only had like 2 days that was like 90 something degrees.
Oh my,
No.
yeah.
And
I
that
mean,
day,
here next week, I think it's gonna be on the 100s. And listeners, it's not the next week because this podcast is gonna go like 2 weeks after I recorded, so don't believe my math, but it's gonna be so hot in here. I
I
mean, it's
know I'm going
already.
this weekend. Yeah, I'm going this weekend and it's gonna be triple digits, like 104 this weekend. I'm like, wow, it's crazy. I low key do miss that weather because it's too cold for me out here.
I believe in you because for me, like, everybody's like, oh, it's so hot. And sometimes they say, like, it's very hot because, like, I'm sweaty and all. But at the same time, I really prefer, like, 100 over, like, 65, 70. I really prefer.
Yeah, it's crazy. I miss. I know you guys complain about that hot. No, I miss it. Okay.
Let them
Everyone
know.
tells me.
Let them
Everyone tells
know.
me. Everyone tells me here. They're like, LA. They were like, LA sucks because it's too hot out there, and I'm like, well, at least there's no allergies. Because oh my god, here I didn't believe in allergies even. I didn't believe in that because I'm like, I never got an allergies over there. Over here, like between April, like spring, you stay sneezing, and it's a thing here. It's like there's don't get me wrong, so many like beautiful trees or whatever, but I'm not used to this. I want my city. I don't care about the trees. Go ahead with your allergies. Keep your
Oh.
allergies. I'll keep them hot.
Yeah. And this job that you are right now is your first job right after graduation, right?
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind I did work in radio back then when I was in college, but as just a promotion street team member. But yes, this is my official job after college. Yeah.
And have you
Yeah.
had any internships between your time in college?
The only internship I had was with News TV while I was in college. I felt like it gave me prepared me to do interviews. I did a couple of Zoom interviews because it was again it was through during COVID, so a lot of Zoom interviews. Yeah, it was very helpful. News TV, shout out to News TV to Michael. um, but you know what? It helped me a lot because I'm also reporting for TV Azteca here, which I've been. It's so crazy because I'm an honor host for a reggaeton genre, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then with Azteca TV, I partnered with them, and whenever there's like events, I'm out there interviewing the artists in person. So, but they're Mexican regional artists. So it's like, oh, I have to be on top of everything. I need to know my reggaeton artists. I need to know my Mexican regional artists so I can properly, ask them questions. Imagine I ask them like a dumb question and I'll be like, and who are you?
Yeah, and that's something that I also wanted to talk to you about. That it's like super nice, and I think it's like really cool, being a bilingual like actually more person like me. When you're on air, do you have to speaking Spanish or is English and it's just like music in Spanish? How does it work?
So Latino 95.5 will be an equivalent of Cali 93.9 over there in
Mm-hmm.
LA or Mega 96.3. I can basically talk Spanglish.
Oh, that's nice.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. Am I 100% fluent in Spanish? Maybe not. I'm starting to get there. But certain things I can't even say in Spanish, or I say it like not properly. And that's the benefit that I have working at Latino, where I can, like, if I don't know a word in English, in Spanish, I can say it in English. You know, I try to speak Spanish as much as I can, but some stuff is just comes naturally to say it in English. And you know what? It's okay because my demographic, I mean, like our listeners are more like younger people, and it's a lot of women listening. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, versus Exitos, since I'm the promotions coordinator, I write their liners, I write their little commercials, you know. With them, their demographic is more like 35 to like 50, you know, so it's like older. So it's like, okay, they're typically more, you know, your typical Mexican parents, you know. Yeah. So with them, it's strictly Spanish, like strictly Spanish. Now with them, when I'm working with Exitos, I always have to like triple check that I'm saying everything correctly, because even the acentos is like a challenge for me.
I get it. Sometimes I'm just like speaking English and people don't get me, and I'm trying to brainstorm some way that you can understand me. And that's very cool that you have this flexibility to, if you don't know how to put this in Spanish, you can just like say in English. And it's a very different demographic, thinking about like what you said right now. More young people and then like the Mexican parents. And how do you deal with that? Because it's not that you have to be two people on air, like two different journalists. How do you differentiate when to work with each demographic?
Honestly, like with Latino and Exitos, it's like I automatically know that like I said, like with Latino, I have more flexibility to be Spanglish. But when it comes to Exito stuff, strictly Spanish. I have a coworker who, she's great. She literally was born in Mexico. Nothing that has, I mean, it's not like it's a big deal. It has anything to do with anything, right? But her Spanish is so perfect. So whenever I have questions, I'm like, hey, does this make sense? Hey, does this, you know? And she's like, yeah, that's perfect. Or no, change this word to this word better. It sounds better. Like, because to me, I think it sounds good. But she's like, what are you talking about? Yeah. So I have her guidance.
Because there's like different types of slangs that we can use with teens and like with older people.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's really nice that you take care of this, and people like editing your stuff also pays attention to how you guys can provide a better service for the listeners. That's very nice. Like you said, you do some interviews, you talk to some singers, bands. There was any interview that was the most meaningful for you?
The most meaningful that I had, the interview that I had was Los Tucanes de Tijuana. I literally interviewed them yesterday. Literally. Because they made me feel comfortable. Let me tell you something. You think some of these artists, I'm not going to say names, but some of these artists are not nice. They are not nice. So just to get an interview sometimes, it's just like, sometimes they say, yes, I'm going to give you the interview. But when you're at the event, they'll be like, oh, no. They say no, but then they do end up giving you the interviews, but they're like very short, very like, So yesterday's event, interview with the Tucanes de Tijuana, they were the most humblest people ever. They made me feel like, I mean, in general, artists are regular people, just like you and I, but they have fame, right? But at first I would get so nervous because I'm like, oh my God, these are famous people. Like, what the heck? What if I mess up? They made me feel so comfortable that, oh my God, like my cameraman's like, okay, it's going to like cut it out. But they were like, no, it's fine. Let's keep doing it, you know? And it's like, oh, it was meaningful to me because they made me feel comfortable. I also had one interview with the reggaetonero that he was in his bed. So it's like, oh,
That's
It was very
weird.
awkward.
That's
Yeah, he was in his
weird.
bed. Yeah, in his bed, and I'm like, okay.
Oh, okay, can you just answer me this question, please?
Yeah,
That,
I'm like,
that
okay.
is so weird. So
Yeah,
please, if you're a listener and you have ever interviewed, please don't be in your bed. We don't like that.
definitely not. Yeah, no, it's just awkward, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just very awkward. But yeah.
Have you ever had a fangirl moment when you were interviewing someone? And if so, like, who was it? How was it?
To be quite honest with you, I don't think I've had a fangirl moment because, you know, it's funny because although I'm working for Spanish, before, when I was in college, I would listen to straight like rap and hip hop. Okay. When I had my internship with Radio Centro, was a Mexican regional, I didn't know much about Spanish music, but I learned and I lied my way in. So I started to know artists little by little. To say that I'm like in love with all these artists, I'm not. Which I feel like it's a good thing that I'm not like, because I won't be biased, right? So I feel like when I'm interviewing, like I know who you are because my parents listen to you guys. But to say that like I'm like super fan, like for example Bad Bunny, now him, I would be like, oh my god, right? But like these other ones, I feel like I know who they are and I like most of it, like some other music, like. But I will to say that I'm like fangirling, like oh my god, not yet. Keyword is yet, not yet.
Not yet, yeah. I mean, you have like such a long time in this career and to like fangirl over some band or like some singer that I feel like it must be a very funny moment for us because at the same time like we are doing our job but we can like meet people that we've been like craving to meet for life and have like maybe a meaningful conversation or just like an interview in bed. you know that's like something that I'm still to experience because right now I'm not working at the moment. I'm just doing this podcast which I hope to get like everybody listening to it and get some journalists and get to know more about journalism here in the US because it's okay that it's been 3 years that I'm here, but I still don't know like literally every morning host or like afternoon or nighttime anchor or whatever. Have you ever had maybe like this fangirl time with a coworker, someone that was on the field also like working in their stories, and it's like someone that you've always admired their work in journalism?
I admire, but she's doing TV right now, and I admire her so much. Nas Perez. I just like
Oh,
okay.
I love her. We interviewed her for
Yes.
RTDNA.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Remember we were in our TDNA, and I said we need to get her. You know what? She's inspiring to me because she was a producer. Remember she said, and she's an E. She's in Rotten Tomatoes. She's freaking like on red carpets. Her and Lala. I don't know. You know who Lala is.
No.
She's a reporter, like for entertainment. That's the thing. I always wanted to be an entertainment reporter, but I remember our professor would be like, "That's not real journalism."
I know, and I hate this commentary because I also like journalism. It is
Yeah,
journalism.
I know, but you know what? I get it because I get where he comes from. Like, oh, it's not really like journalism because it's just chisme, it's just gossip. But it's like at some point you do get kind of annoyed of just gossip. It's not like real news. But I still love entertainment news. Like Nas Perez, from being a producer to being on camera, it's like whoa. And I think she's in her 30s. I want to say, I don't know.
I don't
So it's
know.
like wow.
Don't
So
quote us.
don't quote us, but so it's like wow, because I thought like oh my god, I have to be in my 20s to be on there. Like for all I know, I'll be like in front of camera until like 35. I don't know. You just never know.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, so she's very inspirational because her background,
Yeah.
producer to being on TV and not just any channel. She's like on E News, okay?
And that is like
Her
such a different path from what people go to, like from producer to on camera. Usually people are like, no, I'm done being on camera. I'm doing producing or anything else right now. Do you ever think of producing something also, or just like being on camera, being the host?
I've always wanted to be the host, like on camera. But you know what? I regret not learning how to produce when I was at Valley View News because I've noticed that all of these, per, some people that are on camera now, they started off as producers. So I'm like, that's just your foot to get in, and I just regret it at the moment. I'm like, when I kept hearing multiple stories from different people who are now on camera, they said, I started as a producer, and I'm like, wow, I should have just, because it's, believe it or not, in the entertainment industry is very saturated, super hard to get in. Even radio in LA, it's so saturated. That's why I had to move a little bit further down to at least get my foot in the door, be at least a year or two here. And my goal is to go back to LA and try to have my own little show I actually want to be at Cali 93.9. I used to work this promotion. I want to be back there as an on-air host, or even Power 106, who knows. But I would like to go back to LA. News directors, they still message me. They still email me. But I'm like, I haven't done any real packages. I feel like I want to be rusty again, So it's like, no, I just want to stick to radio for now. I even have most of my friends are now reporters, and they're like, hey, we're hiring, you want to come? And I'm like, not right now. But maybe one day I'll try to be hard news, but I feel like I like where I am. But I'm not going to lie, the pay is not great yet.
We all know that, like, journalists, you gotta know that your first job is not gonna pay, like, very much. But we gotta start somewhere, right?
Yeah, so that's why I'm like, sucking it in. But hopefully our second job is much better.
Okay, now I have kind of a game for you. Imagine you're back in LA, you got your show. How are you gonna do that? What is it about? Which guests are you bringing in? Is it gonna be a bilingual show or not? Tell us your dream show, Lily.
My dream show will be the Lily Ramirez show. Okay, I would have a lot of guests, and not just artists. I would like to have like business owners, any type of guests, because I don't want it to be solely artists. I want to like talk about like have business owners like, oh, what's your product about? Help them promote, mom and pop artists, maybe influencers as well, or just simply a doctor. Let's talk about diabetes. Well, how can you what can you do, or what can you eat to like prevent it? Just educational, but at the same time entertainment.
Yeah.
Like have a little hour of educational, healthy, and then like entertainment of it. You know what? A little bit of everything. That will be my dream show. A little bit of everything.
I love that. Because those type of shows, they are so fun to watch. And I bet that you'd kill it, honestly. Because I remember you presenting stuff here in our projects in class. You got the host voice, so just gotta use the image.
Yeah, literally. I hope to have that show one day.
Yeah, well, let's help Lily get her show. And just to end our conversation for today, which advice would you give to someone who is stuck in the limbo? Like, I just graduated college. Should I get the first job that I am offered, or should I wait a little bit? How would you advise this person?
You want to try to see what are your options, because I've heard stories from friends where they say they mess up, especially if you want to become a reporter or in general. Okay, one thing about my job, I didn't have to sign a contract. So technically, I can leave whenever I want. But typically, I want to say in the real world, I am living the real world, but other jobs, they do require you to sign that contract. So before you sign that contract, please be very informed what you're signing, what you're getting yourself into. Is it try to always negotiate 1 year, because what if you don't like that city you're moving to? You just have to suck it up for a year. Pay, you already talk about it, you're probably not going to get paid much, but try to get the highest. When I try to negotiate my pay, they said, you know what, this is all we can do. Take it or leave it type of thing. So I'm like, so I compare both, and okay, I'm going to get paid more here. Maybe it's not on TV, but eventually I know radio can lead into TV, so which it has already, because I'm in Azteca TV. So I say don't rush, and try to get as many negotiations, like as many job offers. Now, if you truly feel like you really want to take the job, then that's when you should take it. But if you feel like you can get paid better or get better, I don't know, just negotiate better, then just wait.
And I just thought of one more question, if you don't mind. I think you've covered like music festivals, right? Not just like concerts, but music festivals, right?
I haven't done a festival yet, like covered a festival yet. I know because this year that's when they started, it started popping up. Here, there's a big one that's called Bottle Rock or something like that, an equivalent of Coachella, but over here. I didn't get to report that one because since see, this is the thing where I'm at. Whatever the events are for like reggaeton or Mexican regional, that's when they put me. The English stations have their own reporters, so they get to go. Sometimes they're very strict with media and they only accept one or two people, but there's two promotion coordinators for the other three stations. So it's like, oh, have I personally done one? No, but I've done rodeos where there's like 3-4 bands. And let me tell you, people think it's so much fun interviewing these artists, which don't get me wrong, it's so much fun, but it's also so stressful. You don't go to have fun. Yeah, maybe you can have fun and dance a little, but you don't. My first in-person interview, I interviewed 4 artists, and so they're on a schedule. So you have to do the artists either before or after. It's always better before, depending. That day I did it before, so it's like, oh my god, okay, before they go on stage, I have to try to get them, and I go get them, and then within an hour, it goes by so quick. Within that hour, the other artist arrived, and then like, okay, it's time, so it's like, it's just busy, busy, busy. So on camera, it seems like, oh my god, how are you? It's so much fun, but it's actually pretty stressful. It's pretty stressful. Yeah. So it's not all fun and games, but it's pretty cool. I like what I do, and I hope to continue pursuing what I do.
Oh, that's so nice. And I loved our conversation today, Lily. Honestly, it's been so long that we didn't catch up, like just a few messages here and there. But I wanted to thank you again for coming here. And for all my listeners, I will see you guys next episode. Bye.